Hey there ladies and gentlemen, this is Conquer001 and I'm back with yet another video. Now this isn't a unboxing like the last time. This is a little different. I'd like to share a review regarding about Shadow Paladin. Now Shadow Paladin is an individual clan that was recently officially released for BTO4 for the English playing community, and as you can see I have a Phantom Blaster Dragon right in front of me. So what's this video about? It's I suppose it's just to share with the community about my approach to a personal Shadow Paladin deck of mine. My particular approach is more on budget, if you will. It's not exactly budget, I suppose, but I should say that it's more on trying to make the best out of the available cards I have and then try to build a deck around it. So instead of trying to go for those like those like perfect builds and all that stuff, I would like to try to build decks that that with the cards I already have and make it as economical as I can. So the Phantom Blaster Dragon is just so happens that I managed to get it from the packs I got, so pretty lucky. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. I'll just move this out of the way. So naturally, first up, we have to start off with the starter, and that is Flubao, which then again is the only only reasonable starter out there. So for the uninitiated, I'll just run by you on its skill. Flubao itself as a starter Vanguard. Let me just zoom in. Hope you can see it. There you go. So pretty much Blaster Javelin is a grade 1 Shadow Paladin unit, and when I ride on top of it, I can search my deck for a Blaster Dark, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. So it doesn't go to the rear guard or anything that way, so that's a bit of a shame since it is a 5k booster. So a bit of a shame actually. Anyways, so this is a starter. Let's move it out of the way. And then we have the grade 0 setup, which unfortunately, currently as it stands right now for the English community, Vanguard, the BTO4 only has 4 different triggers as it is. We got the stand, the draw, the heal, and the critical trigger. And as you can see, none of them has any special skills whatsoever, so these are actually standard triggers. So let me just put them out of the way. And then we have the grade 1 setup, or at least whatever I have actually. Personally, I feel that the most important card is, unlike what you guys might think might be the perfect guard itself, I actually think that probably the top priority would be Blaster Javelin. There you go. So if you have Flubao in your soul, this unit gets +2, and it has a second skill, which if you actually call it to the rear guard, discard a grade 3 and then look for Phantom Blaster Dragon. Now, personally, I feel that the second skill is an awesome way to actually filter out your deck of the unnecessary grade 3, so that your chances of you actually drive checking a trigger would be much higher. So, but of course, that this kind of situation will only be useful if you have multiple Phantom Blaster Dragons in your deck, which to some it might be a bit hard to actually go with. So anyways, so I have one let's try it again. Guru Bao. I wonder what it's supposed to mean. Well, in a sense, it's supposed to work. It's a great one. It's a 7k booster, but at the very least, I feel that it can work quite well as a Vanguard or as a rear guard, but in the front row. So at the very least, it's still 9k. So, but well, then again, double R is a little expensive for it. So there you go. We have, or rather, I have one perfect guard, Dark Shield, very hard to find, but I managed to get it in the pack, so quite lucky. I got 4 of the standard vanilla 8Ks, which this guy goes by the name of Black Sage Sharon. Right, and you already saw that. Blaster Javelin, I have 4 of it to maximize chance of it coming into my hand, although based on my personal experience, I am horrible in chain rides. And finally, 4 of the Witch, let's zoom in, Witch of Nostrum, Aryan Rod, I think, yes. 7k, rest this unit, choose a card from a hand and discard it and draw a card. And this might could be quite useful in trying to get rid of the additional grade 3s in my hand. So let's put this back. And, whoops. And move on to grade 2. So here, 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 then, and then. There you go. So again, another very important card which I feel in the chain ride is Blaster Dart. Come on, focus. Focus. It's not working. I think the 4 itself is actually stopping if I'm focusing. Nope, it's not working. Anyways, so I have 2 of this inside, so just in case that one does actually go into my hand and my chain ride is successful, I still have a second one to actually put into my hand as well. So in a sense, further tutoring, thinning out my deck. I have 2 of this, the 10k vanillas from BT04, which is surprisingly hard to find, and I have 3 more 10k vanillas from EB03, English, of course. And to make up for the lack of perfect guards, I have the special interceptors, Demon World Castle Fatalita, AK. I have 2 of it, and 3 unflippers. Focus. Cursed Lancer. So from what I read, the Cursed Lancer for the Japanese playing community is that it is a very, very hard card to get because it is a promotional card. So for us English players, I suppose it's good because from what I've experienced so far, each BT04 box seems to guarantee you at least 1 Blaster Dark and 1 Cursed Lancer. So I suppose this does save the time in trying to get that specific promo card. So move on to the grade 3. And of course there. Now, as you can tell, this is quite an array of grade 3s I have here because I've been like pondering as to like what I should probably put into the deck itself. I'm sticking with the 7 grade the 7 grade 3s ratio onto my deck itself. So pretty much the deck structure is pretty much standard, 16 triggers, 14 grade 1s, 12 grade 2s, and 7 grade 3s. And of course, including one more, the grade 0 Flu Ball starter. So first up, I have 2 Dark Mage Badar. There you go. So why would I want to put it in there despite the fact it's 9k? Because my main Vanguard, ironically, isn't Phantom Blaster Dragon. It's actually Origin Mage Idona, which I will explain later, would require retiring of rear guards during the battle phase. So naturally, I would want to fill up my rear guard lines without using up my hand. So Dark Mage, but a card, it would be my personal view would be excellent in the rear guard circle. Next, my main Vanguard, contrary to popular belief, like others like, oh, you gotta use a Phantom Blaster Dragon Man and all that stuff. And it's like, oh, come on. Firstly, I'm not sure if I want to, because I feel like in order to try to pull it off, the deck itself has to correspond very well with Phantom Blaster Dragon. Like, oh, you gotta have the main in it, you gotta have like sufficient matcha or maca, the grade 2 unit in it as well, and all that stuff. So I feel like it's way too much money, way too much work, and I don't really want to spend too much on it as it is I spend on the other decks and other clans. Unfortunately, I spend quite a fortune on this. So I have 2 Ildonas. I got quite a bit in my album as well, but pretty much Limit Break, Retire. Let's focus. Come on, focus. Focus. It's not working. Never mind. Let's zoom out a bit. I'll read it to you. So Limit Break, Counter Blast, Limit Break 4, Counter Blast 2. It's a Vanguard skill, by the way. Choose 2 of your Shadow Paladin rearguards and retire them. And when it attacks, I can draw 2 cards, and this unit gets 3k. And at the same time, if I take the Vanguard, it gets another 3k. Effectively, if I use this with the Limit Break, it becomes a 16k attacker. Can you believe that? So, like, for like 11k Vanguards out there, I can just simply put like I don't know, like a 5k booster, and it's effectively able to hit the magic numbers, right? So if I'm gonna put 8 and the 8k vanilla booster, I mean, it's a little over, but it's definitely a very high powered thing. And since it add 2 more cards into my hand, my hand becomes extremely defensive. Which is also why the unflipper is quite important. I have to get that attack across for the unflipper itself. And then I have this stand-in, which is Dark Metal Dragon. When as a Vanguard skill, it must, when it drive checks and reviews a Shadow Paladin, plus 2k. So effectively every single turn, this guy can hit at least a guaranteed 14k without a booster. And I have the promotional card, the Dark Dictator. This is, until now, I haven't really managed to successfully use it well, since it's extremely situational. But I place it in the deck, like, you know, just in case that it does get to that state. And not to mention, if I do have to fill up the entire field itself, I have no other grade 3s. At the very least, this at least guarantees me a 20k attack power. And finally, Phantom Blaster Dragon. As you can tell, if it has Phantom Blaster in it, plus 1, so it becomes an 11k. But as I already told you, my experience with Chain Rise hasn't always been very smooth, so sometimes this becomes a 10k, or I'll just put it in the rearguard circle, or I would use the Curse Lancer skill to actually thin the deck out by getting this into my hand, so the chances of drawing triggers is, or rather drive checking a trigger is actually higher. And also a Vanguard skill, Counter Blast 2, choose 3 of your Shadow Paladin rearguards and retire them. This unit gets plus 10k power, plus 1 crit until the end of turn. Now, which is also why I mentioned that the main and Maka is quite important for Phantom Blaster Dragon to work, because you really need a lot of cards in your hand in order to fill up the empty spots that Phantom Blaster Dragon actually takes away. Like, so even if there is like 4 draw triggers within your deck itself, it is my personal feel is that it is rather insufficient. So therefore, this is my approach to try to combat that problem, is to have Ildana instead. So even if I can't deal the extra critical, at the very least, my attack power is still relatively high. So there you go. This is my budget build. Some of you might contest this and say, no way it's like the budget. I mean, you got like Perfect Guard and you got Phantom Blaster Dragon. It's like, yes, I know, but considering the fact that this is all by chance, I would consider this as a budget deck. So hopefully it works well. I hope so. So far, it's like partial. I can't really say for sure whether it really works very well or not. And not to mention with the incoming BTO5 in February, the presence of the Phantom Blaster Dragon would become quite powerful. And as you all might have heard, Bushiroad did restrict the number of Dragonic Overlord at the end, and Majesty Lord Blaster in the Japanese playing community. The number of copies have been heavily restricted, as well as other cards like Tsukuyomi and Silent Tom and Brave Wingull and all that stuff. So I am guessing that Phantom Blaster Dragon and Phantom Blaster Overlord would be highly coveted, and people will, like, you know, kill just so they can get their hands on the relevant cards. So okay, that's enough of me rambling, and hope to hear from you soon.